It's been a while since the last video, but I am back to highlight some indie games. These four have clearly been inspired by some of the greats such as Chrono Trigger, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and Mega Man X. Now, I labeled this video as Fall 2023, but it's more like summer for a lot of these games. Either way, they're great, for the most part. So let's just hop right into it. Gravity Circuit is a lot like Mega Man X. The story is set up in a futuristic society of robots. Instead of using a blaster, Gravity Circuit is a melee fighter. He also has a grappling hook, and special moves can be unlocked throughout the campaign. You won't gain new abilities from the 8 bosses you fight, and instead must buy them from a vendor. You can also buy chips to gain abilities like a double jump. The pixel art looks amazing, the control is spectacular, and the music is bumping, and it's all just one cohesive experience. I absolutely loved it as a big Mega Man X fan. I could give more comparisons, but, that would spoil things too much. Next, Sea of Stars could be more of a Chrono Trigger homage if it tried. From the tiny sprites on the world map to the turn-based battle system with combos, it's all there. There's also a bit of Mario RPG in here because attacks and blocks can be timed. The music is fantastic, of course, as are the sprite-based visuals. I found myself mostly engrossed with the story too. It's a generic concept at first, with the 2 chosen ones being trained to save the world, but what really got me hooked were the supporting characters. Garl is a warrior cook with a heart of gold, while Sarai is a mysterious ninja. Saying anything more about Sarai in particular would be a huge spoiler, as well as highlighting some other party members, so I won't say anything more. I do have plenty to nitpick, such as the pacing and lack of real fast travel. That's a long, winding road, but overall, very positive on this one, and it's just a shame it launched so close to Starfield. Moving on, 30XX is another Mega Man-like experience, and more on the nose than Gravity Circuit. It is a sequel to 20XX, which tried to combine Mega Man X with a roguelike that mostly worked, although it was rougher on the edges. 30XX is a more refined experience in terms of the visuals, controls, and gameplay loop. There are also a lot more modes and assist options for the less inclined gamer out there, which I always appreciate. Players can assume the role of an X archetype or a Zero archetype, meaning that one can blast while the other can slice. There is co-op as well, so that this blasting and slicing action can be combined for a satisfying roguelike run. The only thing that is missing is a solid story. Also, the upgrade system doesn't feel as rewarding as some other roguelikes, but again, it's a vast improvement over the original game. Lastly, we have Vernal Edge. In this game, you're a sky adventurer looking for treasure when you get thrown off of a ship and wind up on a mysterious island. You get a sword, some mystical powers, meet a robot, and grab a vessel to sail off on adventures. It's a Metroidvania where abilities will unlock new potentials. Instead of taking place on one big interconnected map, the game is a series of sky islands that you can access via your airship. The gameplay suddenly becomes a third-person flying game for just these sequences, and it reminded me a lot of PS1 RPGs like Final Fantasy IX, or even a bit like Mega Man Legends 2. It's a cool gimmick overall, but everything is a bit vague. It's almost too open, and figuring out where to go is like a trial-by-error sequence of events. The combat is fine, but not exciting, and the enemies don't help jazz things up. It's a competent Metroidvania, but it's not going to light the world on fire. And that is everything. Sea of Stars and Gravity Circuit definitely blew me away, and I recommend them wholeheartedly as 2 of 2023's best. 30XX and Vernal Edge were good, but my recommendations for those are a bit more reserved. Listen to my reviews and make your own decisions. That's what I always say, and until next time, thank you for joining me.